I got some dirty shit to pick up at the dry clean. I got a tidy bitch to pick up, I got love Selena. Shawty hop up in the whip, but I ain't never seen it. Shawty love the way I whip it in a two-seater.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to cover what are macronutrients, why you should track them, and what to do if you mess up. And the second part of this video is going to be how to track your macronutrients and your calories in MyFitnessPal. It's my preferred macro tracker of choice and the one I recommend to all my clients to use because it is very easy to use. So what are macronutrients? At a basic level, it is the end result of the breakdown of food within the human body. So there are 4 macronutrients you need to be concerned about: carbohydrates or carbs, fat, protein and alcohol. Yes, alcohol is a macronutrient and it should be tracked by you accordingly. So carbs, they are the preferred energy source used by the body and the brain to a certain extent. So the reason I say a certain extent is your body can survive without carbohydrates. It does not need carbohydrates to function. It's good for weightlifting and for strength training, but it's often consumed in too high amounts in the standard westernized diet. You can survive without it due to a process called gluconeogenesis, which is the conversion to glucose from non-carbohydrate sources, i.e. stored body fat and protein. So fat is essential to the human body. I emphasize that because I hear of people all the time doing a low-fat diet, and it really winds me up because fat is essential to the human body. Low-fat diets are always too high in carbohydrate, and that's why people don't generally, and I do say generally, don't generally lose too much weight on a low-fat diet due to a process called de novo lipogenesis, which is the conversion from glucose or carbs into fat. It's basically referred to in layman's terms as carb spillover. It's not a good thing. It's something you want to avoid, hence why you should avoid low-fat diets or just high-carb diets in general. So fat is essential to your body, as I've said: brain development and function, cellular production, cellular regeneration, and overall cell functioning. It also plays a role in hormone regulation. One thing to note is you will get a hormone response from the body from every macro you put in there. So please bear that in mind. So protein, it's your main repair macro. It converts into amino acids within the bloodstream once your food has been digested. It's responsible for repairing everything within the body, including your muscles. It's also responsible for hormone regulation and the function of the immune system. A little tip for you: the first 20 grams of protein you consume per day will go towards your immune system. It won't go towards muscle repair, so bear that in mind when you take your breakfast in the morning. And alcohol, your 4th macro, well, it's just fun. That's pretty much it. It's just fun if you consume alcohol. So the calories per gram: protein and carbs both have 4 calories per gram. Fats have 9 calories per gram. They're your big boys. And alcohol is nearly as bad as fat and has 7 calories per gram. So one thing to bear in mind with alcohol is don't just see 2 units and think 14 calories. Alcohol will also contain carbohydrates, which also bumps up the overall calorie of said alcohol. Depending on which drink you have, depends on what the carb levels are, so you need to bear that in mind. Hence why I say you should be tracking it if you drink alcohol. So why should you track your macros? Well, basically, if you're trying to lose weight and you're not tracking, how do you know if you're eating too much? How do you know if you're eating too little? Yes, you can eat too little to lose weight. I'm going to cover that in another video. But if you're trying to lose fat, how do you know where you are if you're not tracking your macros? And if you're trying to gain weight, not necessarily just gain muscle, but if you're just trying to gain weight for someone who's just underweight, you don't know if you're eating enough, or you don't know if you're eating too much if you're not tracking your macros. So that's why you should be tracking your macros. You need to know what you're putting into your body, because if you need to make adjustments to either restart weight loss or to restart weight gain, you need to know how to adjust it, or you need to know basically what your macros are so you can adjust it to start either gaining or losing depending on what your goal is. So another common question I see quite a lot is, should you measure your daily or weekly average of macros and calories? The answer to that is both. And the reason I say both is, if you do the daily, the weekly takes care of itself. Okay? But life does get in the way. You know, we all have lives. We all have to go and stay at families. We all have to go out for dinner, whatever. So the reason I say both is, if you mess up one day, which is the last point on here, is if you're after weight loss and suddenly one day you find that you've consumed 250 calories over what you should be consuming, you can correct that over however many days you need to. So use 5 days as an example. You can basically take 50 calories off the next 5 days and end up back to where you were at the end of those 5 days. Same goes for weight gain. If you suddenly find yourself in a day where you don't eat enough, then you can just add 50 calories on over the next 5 days. Where this becomes a problem is if you suddenly end up 1,000 calories under for weight gain, or 1,000 calories over for weight loss. That then becomes way more difficult to do, and you want to spread that out over a longer period of time. But more often than not, your daily is going to be set out, and it's going to be done properly. So one of the ways that I set my daily out to make sure that I get it is, if I know what my day is doing the following day, I actually program into MyFitnessPal what my intake is going to be for the following day, so I can pre-plan everything and just make sure that I hit the meals, and that means that I'm not going to mess up. That's just something I do. I've done that for quite a while now, so that's just what I do. So you could try that if you like and see how it fits for you. So what we're going to... Okay, so here we are at my MyFitnessPal website. I'm going to try and see if I can get this done on the mobile phone as well. If I do, it will be somewhere over here or over here. But I can't actually record voice when I'm recording the screen on the mobile phone, so I'm going to have to do this on the PC. The layouts are different, so you have to bear that in mind. And the layouts between Android, which is the one I'll be showing, and the Apple version are different when it comes to actually changing settings and this, that and other. On the Apple one, the 3 dots are down on the bottom right hand side. That's how you control most of your settings from those 3 dots. So when you first log into your MyFitnessPal page, this is how you'll be greeted. This is an example diary that I've done for today, so it's going to be a bit all over the place. That was actually me doing a previous take. I just haven't changed it. I'll just do the one for tomorrow instead. So what you've got here is you can go along to your goals. It will give you your goals, your nutritional goals. If you want to do calories by meal, you can do calories by meal. Personally, I don't bother doing that. You've also got the fitness one down here. I never track fitness through MyFitnessPal. You can also edit your macronutrient goals. So if you want to have higher sodium, then you can also change the levels of sodium. If you want to have higher potassium, you can do that. If you want to lower your sugar content, you can do all that. So then the main one that you're actually going to be bothered about is the food diary. So again, this is just an example from today that I've just thrown in. This isn't actually what I've actually eaten today. It's currently 12 o'clock, so I need to get this done so I can actually go and eat some lunch. So when you first get your MyFitnessPal, these labels will actually be slightly different. These are the ones that I've named them as. I'll show you now how to do that, just so we can sort of push on with the rest. So settings, and then you've got your macronutrients that you want to track here. So obviously you can track any additionals that you want to track should you want to. You've got switch between grams and percentages. I will go through that in a minute. And your recent food view, that's just when you go through to add food. You can have it done like that. It will prioritize recent just for the ones that you put in. Here's the meal names. This is the ones that you want to change around, however you want to do it. I personally eat somewhere between 4 and 6 times a day, depending on the sort of day I'm having, like with work and everything else. But breakfast, lunch, dinner, intra post workout, that's for if I have any post workout shake, which I do. Or if I have any supplements through my workout, like branched chain amino acids, I can obviously track them as well. And yes, you should track your branched chain amino acids. Pre-bed, I always eat pre-bed or have a shake pre-bed. It's just something I do. And snacks. So if I have snacks, so if I have say sugar in a coffee, I'll put that into the snacks, and I'll also add the milk in there as well. Or if I have a glass of milk as a snack between a meal somewhere, then obviously that's where I put that in. Negative adjustments, you don't want this enabled. If you're trying to lose weight, obviously you want to be in a calorie deficit, and the more you burn through exercise, the more fat you're gonna lose. What this actually does, if you have this enabled, it will, and if you're tracking your exercise through something like a Fitbit, what it will do is it will recalculate your daily goal to take into account the calories you've burnt, and it'll actually make you eat more food. And that will slow down your fat loss. For some reason, when I paired my Fitbit to my MyFitnessPal, this enabled automatically and kind of screwed me over for a few days. I was wondering what was going on, and then I found out it actually enabled this here. So yeah, just best not to enable this, or not to pair your Fitbit to this anyway. Or if you are going to pair your Fitbit to it, make sure this is actually disabled. And you can have your diary set to private, public, friends only, however you want to do it. So let's go into the food. As I say, this is just an example. So what you've got here is you've got your calorie, you've got your 3 macronutrients that you want to be tracking, your protein, your fat, and your carbohydrate. It gives you the breakdown for each individual ingredient. We'll go through how to add these in a minute. And the total calorie breakdown. Does that for every single meal. Looks a little bit different on the mobile phone. It comes up by the header on the mobile phone. And that's where the percentage and grams come in. So you'll have your carb grams, fat grams, and protein grams. You can also have that to show you by percentage. Personally, I prefer to show it in grams, but like I say, you can do this by percentage as well if you wish to. So what you've got down the bottom here is you've got your totals that you've actually had. You've got your daily goals for each individual one, and then you've got your remaining. So you can see here I'm 61 calories over, I'm 77 grams of protein over, which you obviously don't want to be, and I'm 13 grams of fat under, 23 grams of fat under as well. If you've set your macronutrients up right and you try to stick to them, obviously by the end of the day you want all these to read 0. Or as near as damn it to it. You've also got water consumption here as well. Personally, I don't track water through MyFitnessPal. I always drink between 2 and 3 litres of water a day. I never see the need to sort of track the water here. And into the food notes, I do recommend, particularly when you start a new diet, is keep notes for the day. So when you have higher carb days, and then if you feel bloated for that day, you can literally just put down feeling bloated, and then as you go through and you start getting more and more days that you feel bloated or however it is you're feeling, you can go back and track it and then go, I feel bloated on the days that I have more carbohydrate. So then you can reduce your carbohydrate and either up your protein or up your fat to accommodate the loss of calories, and then that gives you an idea. So it's a good way of trying to find problems within your diet, because everyone's body is different, everyone reacts differently to different macronutrients and to different types of carbohydrates for a start. So let's go into tomorrow's. So this is Friday, so if you want to add food, you just click add food. Sounds simple. And then from here you can then search. So if you want to search for little protein roll, for example, what you do is just type it in. On the mobile phone you have a barcode next to the search bar. That's actually your fastest way of doing it for most things. Your little protein rolls you're not going to be able to track when it comes to the barcode, because there's no barcode on it. But if you touch the barcode and then you can scan the barcode on the item, 9 times out of 10 it will bring that item up and you can just go straight into it. And there's one key tip here, which there's not actually any here, so I'll show you the key tip, but I'll come back to the protein roll. So if you want to type in say porridge, the green tick next to it means it's been verified as 100% accurate by MyFitnessPal. So ideally that's the ones you want to use. The ones without it not being verified, probably not going to be too far off, but that's basically I want to kind of go through that, because you will see some with the green tick and some without. So actually while we're in porridge, let's just add the porridge. So we'll add 40 Scotch oats. When you come across here, so when you do this on a mobile phone, it'll bring up a different little box, but you can actually adjust how much you have. So if you have 1 serving of 40 grams, go ahead and add it to your diary. Say if you have, say, 70 grams of porridge oats, you can go down to 1 gram here and you can type in 70. That's 70 servings of 1 gram, add to breakfast. What you can also check there is check the nutritional information. So this is obviously when you're first starting out a diet, if you're not too sure the food you're eating, what effect it's going to have on your macro breakdown. Here's where you see this sort of coming up here. On the mobile phone, this brings this up automatically, so you don't need to bother clicking nutritional information, it will bring it all up for you. And then you can just close that off, add to diary, and then that's that added. So off we go into lunch. As I said, this isn't actually how I eat. This is just obviously me just picking things at random here. So you've also got ones across here. So if you have something frequently, you can go in and add your frequent food. You can make up your own recipes. So I haven't got any recipes made up. Meals and my foods, they are exactly the same. So for meals, you could basically name it 3-egg omelette. Under this, which you won't actually see, is like say if you add cheese into it, or if you add something else into it, it'll just show up as 3-egg omelette. And then once you actually put it in, it will give you all the ingredients. So I'll show you that. So if I put in, I'll just put in my pre-prep chili. We'll add checked into lunch, and then you'll see that there. That is my pre-prep chili, but it will also show you basically the individual ingredients, the calorie breakdown, the carbs, fat, and protein breakdown for all of it. If you want to then go into dinner and go to My Foods, say for example I had coconut pancake single for my food, if I wanted to for my dinner, not that I would, but yeah, add checked, and then you can see there it just goes in as coconut pancake, and you don't have all this list of ingredients. Keeps it a bit cleaner, a bit more of a faff to set up. Personally, I mainly just use the meal part of it, and that's it when it comes to actually adding your food to the diary. What you can do is, I say, go to premium. The screenshot for this on the mobile phone is exactly the same. You end up with exactly the same things here. What you can do is goal by different day. So these are two examples I'd already put in the previous shoot. But as you can see here, you've got your daily goal for most days. This is my current macro setup. At the minute this will be changing shortly, but you can set by percentage or set by grams. That's a premium only feature, guys. If you've got the free version, you can only do by percentage. So the best way to do it, which is obviously work out your calories, work out the macros that you want. I'll be going into that in the next video, and then get the percentage as close as you can if you don't want to go for the premium version. Premium version is not expensive. It's about £40 a year. I want to say pounds, it could be dollars, but it's 40 a year. So say if you have a different calorie goal or a different macro goal you want to do during the week or at the weekend or however you want to do it, you can actually go in and add daily goal. So let's pick Sunday here, because that's not a day I've picked for another one. I'll have to go and reverse all this after I've done this video, but that won't take too long. So say if you want Sunday to be a completely carb free day, so you just set 0, you'll see it's changed your calories down here. Clearly you're going to have to make up the calories somewhere, so if we up the fat to, an example, 100 grams, and then up the protein to say 200 grams, and then you can save changes, and then on this web page you want to obviously refresh, but on the mobile phone it'll do it automatically. The mobile phone is easier, guys. I'm pretty sure that's how most of you are going to do this anyway. As I said, I just can't record voice when I'm recording these screens. So, but you can see there on a Sunday it's put that in as a different goal. So if you go in back to the food diary and we go to tomorrow, you see the stuff that I've put in. You can also change date here and go and review any other date that you possibly want to. You can go quite far back in this. You can also plan miles ahead as well. But you've got a Saturday, that's a different goal that obviously I've set in the previous one. So you can see here that obviously the calories are different, the protein is different, the fat's different, the carbs are different. And then Sunday you can see it's changed again. So 0 carbs, 100 grams of fat and 200 grams of protein. So that's how you track your macros using MyFitnessPal. There are other macro trackers out there. This is just the one that I prefer. It's the one I've used for years. It's the one I recommend my clients use. You're able to sort of manipulate a lot of this to how you actually want it to be, and it just seems to work better for me personally, and my clients seem to find it easy. So yeah, and the other premium features, if you want to, you can track exercise in here. I say personally I don't. Food analysis, again, this is premium only, but what it will do is you're able to analyze, again, this seems to be a mobile only feature by the looks of it. You're actually able to analyze, so say if you want to know the foods that you've had for that day, which are highest in carbohydrate, because maybe you're struggling to hit your carbs and you think, actually if I hit my highest carb stuff then I'll be able to get them in, you can come down here and it'll show you the foods highest in carbohydrate, so you know which ones that you can sort of prioritize and sort of eat more, and it'll show you obviously the fat and protein and kind of whichever ones you actually want to break down. So if we go back to the premium features again, you will see nutrient dashboard. This bit here is actually quite vital. So it will automatically default to calories remaining. That just changes all this here. I don't want it to look like that. I never use it to look like that. So I want to go back to food settings. No, premium. You have to forgive me, guys. I don't use this on the computer, so it's a bit new to me to work my way around the layout of it. So I always use this as macronutrients remaining, so I can track the carbohydrates, the fat and the protein that I've got left for the day. So what it'll do, I'll show you in a second, but what it'll do is it'll show you your remaining macronutrients and calories you've got to get in for the day. As you add food, obviously those totals will start coming down. I just find that personally to be the best way for me to do it. You could track the heart healthy, fat, sodium, cholesterol stuff if you want. Low carb, I just don't see the point in this one personally. Carbohydrates, you're going to track up here anyway. Sugar, if you're bothered about your sugar intake, then you can check that in the nutrients page anyway, and sort of see where your sugar's at. You can also track that on the main dashboard. But yeah, I just don't see the point in that. So the sugars that you have are actually going to go into the carbohydrate heading anyway. But if you are worried that you're consuming too much sugar, then obviously you can use that. Fiber, you don't track the carbohydrates from fiber anyway. You always deduct them off. So if you have a fiber supplement like MyProtein's fiber supplement that's say 15 grams of carbohydrates, but it's got 14.6 grams of fiber in it, you just wouldn't bother tracking that. There's no point. You don't. The carbs that you get from fiber, they don't go into sort of glucose and glycogen and this that, and that. The body utilizes it different. You just don't track it. But again, it shows you your calories remaining, or you can have any 3 macronutrients you want to track, however you want to do it. Personally, I go macronutrients remaining. That's the example obviously that I've got from today. If I then go to, it doesn't actually show me for that one, so I do apologize. On the mobile phone, it will actually show you. If you scan forward, this actually sits at the top of the page, so you can actually do this via, the day, if you know what I mean. So you can kind of go through and just make sure your goals are the same just by simply looking up here. Obviously, the website layout is a little different. So that's how you do everything on MyFitnessPal, guys. That's the main things that you're going to need. There's nothing else in here really that you're going to actually want to have anyway. You can do macronutrients by meal if you so wish. Personally, I say I don't bother. I've been doing this for a while, so I know what macros I want per meal. And I don't really need to track these sort of stuff anymore, but I do just to make sure that I keep myself sort of going with it. And just in case you do occasionally get some food that will come up and bite you in the backside, where either you think the protein level is high enough and turns out it's not, or the other way around, and then suddenly by the time you know it, you're either not eating enough or you're eating too much. And you can also do calorie goal by meal if you so wish to do it like that as well. So that's the MyFitnessPal tracking. That's how you track your macros. Obviously in the next video I'm going to go through the macro settings for the nutrition plan that I'm actually going to give you to try if you want to try it. And I'm going to do a male version and a female version. They may be separate videos depending on how long it actually takes to go through, but I will probably try and get them both into the same one. The macro breakdown for females and for males is different, so that's why it might take 2 videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, let me know what you thought, subscribe and ding the bell. So until next time, guys, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye.